All right, so here we are with the 2013 Buick Encore All-Wheel Drive. This is the premium edition, and on this very blustery day in the Rocky Mountains, we are going to give you the real video, the real review on this car, and tell you all the details you want to know. I'm Jonathan McGrew. Jump in the driver's seat with me, and let's take a ride. All right, so here we are in the 2013 Buick Encore. Now, the Encore is an interesting vehicle because it is basically the smallest crossover vehicle that Buick offers in their luxury segment. So we're going to give you the detailed look at this car, or SUV, or whatever a crossover really is, because it is a combination, and see what we think of all the real detailed bits of this vehicle and what you would want to know as you go to look at one on the dealer lots, or you might even just be interested in what Buick is offering today. So let's check it out. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about the Buick Encore is that we are in the premium model, which is the top of the line. The press fleets like to give us the ones that show basically the breadth and scope of these vehicles. So this is your top of the line all-wheel drive. It is going to have the 1.4 liter Ecotec 4-cylinder turbocharged motor, and this motor is going to basically put out about 138 horsepower, and it's also going to get you about 23 miles per gallon in town in the all-wheel drive model. Oh yeah, that's the thing we didn't mention. This thing is all-wheel drive, which for people that live in snowy climates or rainy climates, this is going to be a nice option group for you so that you can keep your wheels glued to the road. So what Buick's really done is they've taken the Chevrolet Captiva or similar vehicles throughout the GM line, and they have repackaged it, let's say, the way that GM has done for decades and decades and decades. And even Ford does this with some of their vehicles, and Dodge and Chrysler, and basically anybody you can think of. It is an economy of scale type of move where you can take a designed vehicle that's already out on the road and make sure that you can offer different styles and packaging for different lifestyles and people. So what we have here is the luxury segment, because Buick is not quite Cadillac, but it's definitely more luxurious in today's nomenclature than, say, Chevrolet. And what you have here is the culmination of more luxury than a Chevrolet, but maybe not quite a Cadillac. So what we have for you is dual toned interior. This is the saddle color, and a lot of really cool features that you wouldn't find on a Chevrolet version of this vehicle. So let's cover the features of the 2013 Buick Encore. Now, this car is packed with a lot. It's got a heated steering wheel, it's got dual climate control, heated seats, it's got this fantastic navigation color screen up here, and this color screen is actually really nice because it's placed far enough away that you can see it, but not too far away that you would need, say, to get out reading glasses or something to be able to tell what the different things are on it. It's got a good color display that has a lot of contrast, and you can basically work most of the features from the steering wheel controls here on the right side of the wheel. You can also reach the center knob on the center stack to change all the functions, and it is, now I have to say, it is a little busy right here in the center, so you're definitely going to want to look at your manual, get a sense of what all the features are, so that when you go to use it in a daily fashion, you understand where everything is and how it works. But once you get used to it, it's logical, it's well placed, and for most drivers, you're going to find that you can reach this area of the dashboard pretty easily. The other features that it has, of course, because this is the top of the line, is the navigation system, so you will be able to find your way to places. It also has park sensors front and rear, as well as object detection with the rear view camera. Now, the rear view camera is an interesting thing. It actually seems a little low on the resolution side of things. I find that it's not as crisp as I would like to see it, and not as crisp as it might be in some other vehicles that we've tested in the segment. But all in all, you can still see things, and it will warn you with a little triangle and a exclamation mark when there's something in your path that you need to pay attention to. Now, if you're backing out of tight areas a lot like I do every day, I have a driveway that has a picket fence on one side and you go through a gate. It can be annoying because it's going to go off constantly because you are constantly close to something. So you can reach down here in the center stack and turn it off. That's a good thing. This car also has lane departure warning, so it will warn you about that. And it also has collision detection, so that if you are, you have a lapse in attention, it will tell you when you're getting too close to the car in front of you or there's an impending collision. Now, the sensitivity of this you can set kind of like an adaptive cruise control. You can set it here with this button on the wheel and set it for 3 different distance settings. And that's important because if you're driving in traffic a lot and you're an aggressive driver, let's just say that it's going to go off a lot. I don't see it go off too much, although I do think when it goes off is a little odd because sometimes I'm trying to make it go off just to see where its threshold is, and it doesn't. And then other times I don't think I'm doing anything wrong, and it starts warning me that there's a impending collision. So those are some things that are kind of interesting, I think, but not really showstoppers in terms of being annoying. There are some other features that are really nice about this car, like memory seats, but the odd thing about the memory seats is it's only for the front-back portions, mirrors, that kind of thing. It's not for the seat back. The seat back on this vehicle is actually a manual adjustment. So that's some interesting bits about this Buick Encore from a features perspective. So the driving experience, I will say that the driving experience is much better than I think the Captiva or some of the other models of this car are. And I think it's because of the luxury sense of it. They've done a lot of sound deadening in this vehicle to make sure that you have a nice quiet ride inside. And indeed, it does have a quiet ride. It soaks up the road bumps well. In fact, we're about to go over some speed bumps here so you can see. It's pretty good. It doesn't rattle you around too much. It actually doesn't even shake stuff in the car that much. And we're hitting those speed bumps at about 15 miles an hour. So that's a nice thing, to see in a vehicle like this, that I think they've uplifted it from the lower end versions of this in the other brands. The other thing that is nice is that the steering is nice and firm. It has a nice center feel when you're going down the road. You don't feel like it's wandering. It is not going to corner well, though. Even with the all-wheel drive and the additional traction that you have, this vehicle feels very, very top-heavy around corners. It is not comfortable to drive this car fast from my perspective. And I drive a lot of different cars, and a car that is well-balanced around a corner, you don't feel like you're trying to grab onto the wheel and keep yourself in the seat. This car is meant to be an in-town commuter. It's meant to be driven in I would say, a more conservative fashion. Even though it does have the 1.4 turbo, it is not a racy vehicle. It is a comfortable cruiser, and that's really what it's meant for. It's meant for in-town, and then the ability to carry some stuff if you need to, so you can put the back seats down and really get some good cargo capacity. Now, speaking of capacities and cargo capacity, this car has a 48.4 cubic foot cargo capacity, which is actually pretty good for such a small crossover SUV. The thing, though, that is interesting is in my driving position, I can just barely get my briefcase behind the seat. If the passenger seat is too far back, I can't get my briefcase behind the passenger seat at all. So your rear passengers, you are going to have to adjust this vehicle so that they can ride. And this is going to be a short distance vehicle for 4 people to ride around in. So this is going to be you pick them up and you go a couple miles into town to go to dinner, not a pick them up, drive 4 people cross country kind of vehicle. It really is more suited for in-town duty, in my opinion anyway. The other thing that is interesting about this vehicle is the interior itself. And the interior, I think, is one of the nicest parts of this vehicle. It is very well put together. It has a nice look, especially with this saddle two-tone. You've got the soft touch dashboard, you've got the wood grain, you've got two-tone in the doors and in the seats, contrast stitching in the seats, and you can see the contrast stitching here around the wheel. It makes you feel like you are getting a lot for your money. And of course you have OnStart in the interior here, which is nice as well. That's a nice feature. I even hear that it can save you some on your insurance. Of course, that's the article I saw that I posted to our Facebook page at Real Auto Reports on Facebook. So that's kind of a cool feature as well. Now, some of my gripes about this car, though, when it comes to the interior, is that you do feel like you're in a small car. So this is not, there's no magic here. You have one armrest, not two, because the car is so narrow. And we see this in other cars as well that we've tested that are small. Like the Chevrolet Spark has the same thing going on. And we have that real first impression on our page as well as the real review. And what it means is that if you have two very large people in this interior, you're going to notice. And you have to kind of balance that with what you want out of a car and how much you're paying for it, which is a nice segue into the price. This vehicle is tested as a little over $32,000. That is a lot of money for a crossover, even with the luxury and the quality and the features that this vehicle has. You can get into this car starting at just over $24,000, which is a lot better, but you're going to give up a lot of these great features that we've been talking about in this premium edition. And that's going to be, $24,000 is going to be with the front wheel drive only. Now, recently we've tested the 2014 Subaru Forester, and that car with navigation and a touch screen and heated seats and a lot of options as well comes out in mid 28,000, so 28,500 and some. So you really do need to decide whether the flash chrome wheels on this vehicle, the turbocharged motor that is a lot less powerful than that Subaru, an all-wheel drive system, this really nice color screen, if all of these things really come together along with the look of the vehicle to make you happy on your daily driving for a couple years, because that's what most people want to do. They want to buy a car and be happy for a couple years. Okay, so final thoughts on this Encore. It is well put together. GM has done an amazing job, in Buick indeed, with quality. Everything is beautiful. The gauges are there's a lot of attention to detail. They're great to look at. And all in all, the car is very quiet, it rides well, and it's going to do good in-town duty and give you a lot of flexibility because it has been well designed. The question isn't really that. The question is, does it fit your lifestyle? And we hope you'll come back and tell us. We hope you'll come back to our YouTube page and leave some comments and let us know if you bought one or if you looked at one and what you thought of it.